Hey guys, Czar here. Hope all is well. Trust you're having a good morning so far. It is Tuesday, November 26th, and it is 9:29. 1 minute to the open approximately. This is the Two Sisters 1 minute charts, but let's start with the daily frame as always, the NASDAQ and the S&P left and right. We have cascading down days. In other words, we broke yesterday's low on the Nasdaq and the S&P, but now feeling very much like inside days since we're back in the range of yesterday's span of travel and trading about the middle on the Nasdaq and a little bit higher than the middle on the S&P. Marginal bullish bodies for now, but looking like we're pulling down here on the open. The Two Sisters 1 minute charts, VWAP, volume weighted average price, 2 standard deviation bands, and looking like we are just kind of hanging around here until we open in about 45 seconds or so. I'll be cutting out dead air, guys, sideways grinding action, non-teaching moments. I'll put you on pause, bring you back for the important bits. We may get a trade here, who knows? Things are looking a little tricky here for me on the open. There's that daily frame that I mentioned, that kind of inside feel, even though it's a down day technically. 30-minute chart down here in the bottom left-hand corner. Guys, let me just zoom into that so you can see what I'm referring to here in terms of mixed messages or messiness here. This is the Asian session. This is the UK session. That's still open, of course, overlapping into New York. This is a big drop after hours. That was at 6:30 p.m. New York time last night. And, of course, now it's 9:30 a.m. the following day. There's that drop we had yesterday in the New York session, retraced much of that in the aftermarket, or in the afternoon, I should say, and the aftermarket, and then dropped back down again to that fairly key support zone on that rejection wick from the middle of New York yesterday, 12:30 p.m. during the lunch hour, in fact. That was. So now we're sitting in this kind of tight congestion or consolidation area. This area right here spans 30 points only. That's a narrow range. There's a cleanish traffic range up here for about 58 points or so, which we're pushing up into now. And now we have the opening 1 minute candle, which will also be my 1 minute opening range that I'll use for the rest of the session. And there it is. It has been set. On the NASDAQ, that range is approximately 23 points, fairly narrow. On the S&P, that'll be even narrower in point terms, 4-point range, guys, on the S&P. Very narrow opening range for the 1 minute chart. I'll put you on pause, bring you back as things develop here, and we'll take it from there. And back to my trading grid, guys, here. You can see pushing up, not touching this. I've got a pre-market zone right here. Watching this to see if we can even close above that. But even if we do, it doesn't mean I'll be jumping all over this, that's for sure. S&P supporting the up thrust here. But I'm going to take it easy here, wait for some structure to build in. We have a little bit of an extended leg moving up in here, guys, and trying to get past this piece. This, by the way, is that top wick that was a rejection wick in the pre-market. So I want to see how prices react around that now on this next 30-minute candle. Nothing to do here, guys, just watching. This zone up here, guys, is a very important zone, very strong zone that drove prices down with 1, 2, 3 rejection wicks. See that there? That was from yesterday, the crossover between UK and the start of New York, where we sold off violently on that bearish engulfing flipping candle, if you remember. Excuse my language. So even if prices were to break above here, you can see that the distance to that next zone is only about 17 or 18 points. And this is a range. Of course, a zone is not a specific level. I draw them very precisely on the bodies, as you can see, but this is an area, right? And so that's a little concerning for me, given that this is behaving like an inside day, is in fact a cascading down day, since we had a marginal break from a technical standpoint. So mixed messages here. Technically down day, but bullish body. We're in a cleanish traffic zone or range looking to push up. But then we have significant overhead resistance from yesterday. So not much here for me to do. Just watching here, guys. I'm not touching this, as I mentioned, because of that zone right there. Just sent this picture off to my group just to let them see this and think about it. Doesn't mean prices can't blow right through it, but it's a concern for me given that we have a neutral to down day with a bullish body, so mixed daily messages just inside of the one time frame. And we have this overhead resistance here just waiting to prevent things from going higher as well. And then we have this kind of lackluster behavior on the 1 minute chart. So all three charts here are not saying go long. The only thing that would suggest longs, really, well, two things: being above the open range, right? Positive moving average configuration. And I guess you could say that we're in a clean traffic range up here. But clean traffic can work both ways, right? It means it can slide down easily as well as up easily. And that always needs to be taken into consideration. S&P still inside the open range, not supporting any move to the upside. So I'm just going to sit here and watch and wait. Very lackluster, guys. I mean, this is in itself, this is a nice little configuration, but there's an awful lot of blue in an advancing market here. As you can see, an inconsistent sized candles for a 1 minute chart. So that to me is not very inviting, despite the fact that we did move up here. And there we go, guys. You can see how these overhead zones with these rejection wicks has really put some pressure on here and forced prices back down again, despite the inviting look of the EMAs and the break and retest. It's not enough. Remember the mixed messages we talked about? Daily, 30, and 1. If it's not clean and attractive and beautiful and flowing, I'm not interested. All right, guys, there's the 10 o'clock news. I'm going to watch to see how this reacts. Looks like we're pushing down after an initial flurry up, but I'm just going to sit back and watch the dust settle here for a bit. Nothing to do. Just ranging here, guys. Nothing going on. You can see that S&P just asleep here in that very tight 4-point range, guys. Now, we went beyond the 4 points, of course, to about 10 points by the looks of it, but we are back in that original 4-point open range here. Nothing going on. And nothing's changed here, guys. We are sitting just above VWAP here, basically on VWAP on the S&P and sleeping inside and around the open range, and something more or less the same here on the NASDAQ after a failed attempt higher. And again, that resistance zone coming very much into play here, rejecting again. You saw those 1, 2, 3 rejection wicks and produce another one right here on the open on New York. Just watching here, guys. We're still above VWAP, really just sleeping and grinding. I'm not touching this just because we dropped down below here. Very lackluster and mixed messages here today. Rejecting off of VWAP on both the S&P and the NASDAQ back into open range. Really lackluster stuff going on here, guys. All right, guys, I'm going to end the video here. Nothing going on, as you can see. This is another no trade day. I'll post the video just to show you how and why I decided not to trade here today, even if we broke down below here. Such a mixed message going on with the daily configuration. We got this noise in through here. So again, nothing for me to do. Have a great day, guys. Appreciate you. Thanks for clicking the like button on the way out. We'll talk soon.